They said calm down, like I was a storm they could silence, like thunder obeys those who hide from rain. They thought control meant defeat. They thought quiet meant fear. But I was never calm. I was calculating. Every breath, a countdown. Every silence, a sharpening. They saw stillness. I saw strategy. Because what they call peace, I call prelude. And what they call restraint, I call the tightening of a blade before it cuts clean. They wanted me soft, predictable, contained. But I learned early. The ocean that looks peaceful is the one that drowns entire cities without warning. Still water isn't weak, it's waiting. They laughed when I stopped responding. They mistook discipline for surrender. They mistook patience for peace. But every second of silence was hammering something new into shape. A colder mind, a sharper will, a version of me they will never recover from. See, I don't shout anymore. I don't prove. I don't beg to be understood, because power doesn't explain itself. It arrives, and when it does, it doesn't knock. It doesn't warn. It simply takes what it was once denied. So remember this. When I was calm, I wasn't weak. I was loading. And when I rise, the same voices that told me to calm down will whisper prayers they never believed in. They mocked the silence. They mistook stillness for surrender. They thought the quiet meant I had nothing left to say. But silence was the language of my evolution. They wanted reaction. They wanted chaos. They wanted me to break, to prove them right. But I gave them nothing. No screams, no explanations, no performance for their comfort. Because while they laughed, I was forging. While they pointed, I was preparing. While they celebrated their noise, I was building a crown in the dark. They didn't see the blacksmith behind my calm, didn't hear the hammer fall inside my chest, shaping the steel of my will. They didn't feel the volcano beneath my restraint, fire sleeping under snow, waiting for the tremor. Every insult was coal, every doubt was oxygen, and together they built a flame that learned to breathe in silence. See, I learned something they never did. Noise feeds the weak. Stillness feeds the dangerous. Because calm minds plan what chaos destroys. And I wasn't born to react. I was born to rebuild. Every time they told me to calm down, I learned to calculate instead of react. And now my silence is no longer peace. It's pressure. It's the tightening of fate before it snaps. It's the storm rewriting the rules of gravity. They wanted noise. They got evolution. And as far louder than they can handle. There's a moment when the calm stops serving you. When patience turns into poison. When silence becomes too heavy to carry. I felt it. That fracture. Quiet, clean, surgical. The exact second the heart stops waiting for fairness and starts planning for victory. They wanted me to hold back, to swallow the roar, to stay predictable, containable, manageable. But the thing about control is this: it's not peace. It's pressure, and pressure doesn't vanish. It evolves. Every betrayal became a blueprint. Every scar became a signature. Every disappointment became a documented strategy. That was the shift. The end of patience. The beginning of precision. I stopped seeking justice. I started designing it. Because mercy is a luxury I traded for accuracy. And now I don't raise my voice. I raise empires. I play the long game now. Every move deliberate, every silence intentional. They think they're winning when I disappear, but absence is my battlefield. While they sleep, I rearrange the chessboard. While they gloat, I rewrite the rules. And when I move, it's never loud, it's lethal. The version they feared was born the moment they told me to calm down. And they were right to fear it, because that command, that arrogance, forged the exact monster they prayed would never wake. I'm not here to prove them wrong anymore. I'm here to make them irrelevant. They built a wall to contain me. I used it to measure the size of their fear. And when I break through, it won't be rage. It'll be strategy, sharpened by silence, perfected by pain. And then it happened. The world blinked and realized I was no longer what they remembered. They whispered my name like a rumor, not out of love, but out of fear. The silence they once mocked had become a language the whole world had to learn to survive. They called it calm before. Now they call it control. They called it weakness. Now they call it war. Because when I stopped explaining myself, the ground beneath them started to move. They had laughed at the quiet, but quiet was the blueprint of something they couldn't destroy. Every empire they built to contain me cracked under its own arrogance. Every mouth that once told me to calm down now trembles just trying to say my name. I didn't shout, I didn't rage, I just became inevitable. The beast they feared was never chained. It was studying. The crown they tried to break was reforged in the ruins they left behind. And now, my silence echoes louder than their armies ever could. They can't predict me anymore. Because you can't raid a storm, you can only pray it passes. They wanted calm, they got silence, and silence became empire. Now they pray for the version they once mocked. But that version is gone, replaced by an upgrade the world can't uninstall. I don't fit into their systems, I rewrite them. I don't play their games, I design new rules. And every time they think they've caught up, I'm already on my next move. Unreachable, unstoppable, a legend carved from their panic. I am not who I was. I am what silence turned into. Not a man, not a memory, a design built through precision, betrayal, and discipline. The upgrade wasn't a glitch. It was the code I rewrote inside the wreckage. Every scar became syntax, every loss a recalibration, every broken piece a new algorithm for dominance. You see, chaos was my first teacher, but I refined it. I learned to turn fire into lightning. Less noise, more accuracy. Fire burns out. Lightning strikes once and changes the landscape forever. Emotion made me dangerous once. Logic made me unstoppable. Now I move like a god wearing human skin. No hesitation, no mercy, no attachment. Just execution. This is not anger anymore. This is architecture. Every word I speak, every step I take. Measured, deliberate, final. While others drown in reaction, I breathe calculation. While they shout for attention, I move in silence and control the narrative. They'll call it arrogance. They always do when they see control they can't comprehend. But I don't seek validation. I seek results, and results don't argue. They reign. I used to chase perfection. Now I engineer inevitability. The weak wait for signs. The powerful create them. So understand this. I didn't evolve by accident. I built a system out of scars, a crown out of collapse, and a doctrine out of silence. I am the blueprint of power, and everything I touch now follows the code. Precision, patience, permanence. Because the storm they feared wasn't born from rage. It was written in logic and executed like prophecy. You taught them to laugh at patience. You taught them to mistake peace for weakness. So they threw words like stones. They signed my quiet with dismissive smiles. They misread my silence as permission. They mistook my restraint for an invitation to break me. They built bets on my collapse. They placed wagers on my anger. Good. Let them keep their bets. Let them line their pockets with false confidence. Because there is a courtroom, no lawyer can bribe. There is a ledger that counts every sneer. There is an archive of deeds they stamped as trivial. Fate keeps receipts. I do not enjoy vengeance. I practice consequence. I deliver results with the same cold hands that once folded in patience. Retribution is not noise, it is calibration. Every scar I carry is a medal of retrofit. Every slight became fuel. Every betrayal became a blueprint for dismantling their towers. I turned mockery into mortar. I built an empire from the ashes of their assumptions. This is not chaos for chaos's sake. This is architecture of reckoning. A battlefield arranged in silence. A verdict carved in moves, not screams. Look at them now. They ask for mercy. They whisper apologies. Too late. I owe them nothing. Not forgiveness. Not explanation. Only the cold fulfillment of what their arrogance designed. They told me to calm down. I did. And in that calm, I built their nightmares. And now, there is only quiet. Not the quiet of defeat, but of dominion. The kind of silence that doesn't follow war. It defines it. I no longer chase validation. I no longer explain. The crown no longer trembles on my head. It fits. Power, I learned, isn't in the noise. It's in the pause before the strike. It's in the stillness that unnerves kings. It's in the discipline to hold your blade until the world blinks first. They wanted peace. I became the definition of it. Not the absence of war, but the mastery of it. I don't need to prove what I've become. They'll feel it when their empires collapse in perfect silence. They'll see it in every movement I don't make. Because control isn't about what you destroy. It's about what you can choose to leave standing. The storm has passed, but its memory obeys me now. And the world studies my silence like scripture. They said, calm down. I did. And from that calm, I built a legacy that even time will whisper about in silence.